I'm assuming, tell me if I'm wrong here, but I'm assuming you're doing basically the same things now that you did in year one. They don't change that much. Have you changed very much, or are you very different, or you're basically doing about the same things you did in the very start?
Well, in year one, actually, of course, we've had an evolution of support. Back there in year one, we didn't have all these great calls. We didn't have all these great videos. We didn't have a lot of the support tools that makes it even easier for us to build. Now in year 7, for me, it's much, much easier to do, but it's just getting out there and being as aggressive and as committed as you want to be. And I've always been committed, because if you're going to do something, you need to do it the best you can be. And that's always what we do. And that may be 2 hours a day of the best you can be. That may be 6 hours a day. But just getting out there and making the commitment is no different than year one. I mean, and that's, Dave, that's a really good point. Sometimes when people get up in the premiere, they think, oh, now's the time for me to kick back and let everybody else get out there and work. And it's
drives me crazy when they do that. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. 100Ks, 200Ks, 500Ks. Let me sit back and do nothing, or do very little. And we forget that we have brought people into this organization to help them and support them, not to say, hey, go out there and get things done while I watch you. We need to set the pace, because people follow the leader, and we're the leader. And I know, Dave, you're exactly the same way. You're out there working just as hard today as when I first met you 7.5 years ago. You're still out there laughing away and working every day.
I just don't believe in the theory of resting on our laurels. Great,
That's right.
I just don't think anybody should do that. I think once we get it ourselves, we owe it back. And
exactly.
I just don't think there's any such thing as the right to rest on our laurels. That doesn't mean we can't have a little bit more fun, travel a little bit, have a few more toys. But my gosh, I think we owe it back, and I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah. We can't forget the commitment we have to people that we bring into Xango and to Xango. I mean, why would we expect the founders to work harder than we do? And
exactly. They're not resting on their laurels. They're going to do more. They're going to do more. Our founders are going to do more meetings this year than they did in year one. Our founders themselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and look at that. We can't let them down. We can't let ourselves down, and we can't let our downline down. We need to get out there and set the pace.
Dang it, if they're going to do it, I'm going to do it. That's the way I feel, And hey, well,
exactly.
Sharron, I want you to say just a little bit more about, you kind of covered a lot of the early things, but I'd like you to just touch on follow-up just a little bit more. Someone expresses a little bit of interest. They like the video. They like the wake-up call. They're kind of liking what they see. What might you do at that stage?
Well, Dave, the follow-up is something that's really important. And if a person didn't become a member, and I hate saying sign up, I always have lots of different easy words for talking to people about what they're about to do. If they haven't come on board by looking at the video, coming on the wake-up calls, and then getting that three-way, if they still haven't come on board, it's because you haven't said something that they need to hear about them. You haven't made them realize that this is about them, this is for them, and we are there to support them. So you might have a few more calls and dribble on them a little bit more. Just, always leave the conversation with, well, I'm going to follow up with you in a few days or next week, and we can just talk a little bit more, and I know you'll have some questions. A lot of distributors and uplines, they always have this little cliche thing that they say, well, if they didn't sign up, next. Well, it is next. You're always going to do next, but you never forget about the people that you have brought on board, because they are going to come in sometime. So the follow-up to get them sponsored, just like Dan, it took me 5 years to get Dan to get into Xango, because his time wasn't right. But I still loved him. He was still my friend. I have lots of friends that I talk to for years and years. And, in fact, some of them are now getting into the business that I've talked to for years. So the follow-up on that new person is very important, and to keep it consistent, and to get the text numbers and just send them over a text, say, hey, I love you. Hey, I'm thinking about you. It was great talking to you. All those things make them feel closer to you. And network marketing is about relationships. You have to have the vehicle, which is Xango, the best vehicle that has ever come into network marketing. You have to have the support. But it's their relationship that they build with you and how comfortable they feel with you. That's what's really going to get them into the business, or your upline person that you've introduced them to. Sometimes they gel a little bit better with the upline. So it's a relationship. And once you get that person sponsored, then you need to call them every day and get them on the calls, get them knowing about their tool that they're going to use, get them familiar with things, because remember, they're not going to call you and say, hey, Dan, what do I do? How do I start? You have to be with them every day because you want to. They're pumped up. They're ready to go. They're excited. So you have to keep that excitement level. And I had a lady tell me today who I was meeting with, and she says, I don't have any. I said, you know, what you need to do is call some people in your downline and tell them the support that they have. And she said, they don't have any support. And I said, what are you talking about? They don't have support. You know, we have the Wake Up with Dan calls. You have an upline. And she says, well, I don't have confidence in myself. And that is true. Sometimes people don't have confidence. But you know what to do? You've got the tools today that we didn't have. And I know I always go off talking a lot, Dave, so you can stop me anytime. We have the tools today that can help that person who doesn't yet have that self-confidence. And you need to tell them that. You know, the tools, all you need to do is get an email address and text them and tell them you're sending something over that it's called the New Frontier to take a look at it. That's going to do the presentation for you. Then you get them on the Wake Up with Dan and Sharron. That's another tool. All you need to do is drive them there. And then you get them on the freeway. So it's not as if you're going to have to figure it all out for yourself. It's laid out there. So go ahead, Dave.
And this webinar is the same thing. You know, get them on the Wednesday night webinar. All these things are there's. This is part of the upline. I mean, yeah,
exactly.
No one can say that, because when they have those calls, when they have the webinars, when they have the videos, when they have the training that's in the back offices and so forth, and people upline that are willing to do three-way calls, oh my gosh, it's a lack of confidence. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So you don't have to have any confidence, because you can turn it over to what we have to offer. All you need to do is send the message. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so great, Dave. Now, nowadays what we have is, wow, I tell you, Xango is going to grow. Huh?
And I'm sorry. Right, and I always emphasize, Sharron, that if the frontier doesn't close them, which oftentimes it doesn't, because you have to, it might not hit them when they're ready, because everybody has that point in time when they're ready, just like you and me and Dan and all of us, you know.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's where the other videos can come in so handy. Is, after a month, send them the Toxic Nightmare. Maybe that's going to be the thing that's going to hook them. Send them the El Aviv a month later.
Right.
Maybe that's going to be the thing that's going to hook them. Just keep sending them things, because you never know when number one, the timing is going to be right, and which video or which message can hook them. Right?
Right, and this is a journey, Dave. This is a snowball. You just keep rolling the ball, a snowball, and it keeps picking up the snow, and it gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a journey. Yeah.
Well,
it's a lot of fun. Okay.
Well, one last question here. We're getting close to the end where we got to end it here, but one last question. You've been in network and marketing so long. You've accomplished so much. I know you have a real feel for this industry. Not only Xango, but you have a real feel for the industry. You just get it. Based on your knowledge and everything, give me your vision, your feel on Xango for 2011, and even extend it beyond that, 2012, 13, 14. What do you see over the next few years here?
Wow, Dave. I honestly have to tell you that I see things that are going to be accomplished by every single person who joins this company and makes that decision that they're going to build a business that I haven't seen in this industry in 25 years. And you know, Dave, that this is only my third company. I was in my first company for 10 years, And I felt it was a good company because before I joined, I did my due diligence in looking at the company. So I was with that company 10 years. I was with my second company for 6 years. I wasn't with companies for 6 months and then the next company and the next company. I always do a lot of due diligence. And when I saw this company, I wasn't even planning to join, and I flew up to Utah, and I saw what these 6 founders and the visions that they had and the commitment that they had. In fact, that year they did like 700 meetings. No other company does that. No other company is going to do. This year, the founders and executives are going to do 1,000 meetings to support our growth. They are our equal partners. There is no company I have ever seen or probably ever will see in this industry that has this vehicle that we have. And with all the great support tools and the great leaders in the field of Xango who are ready to help everybody, and with the Dan and Sharron call in the morning, this 2011 is going to be the biggest year Xango ever had, and I can guarantee that to anybody. And they're going to be a billion-dollar company, and $500 million of that is going to go to people on this call. And if you don't join and you don't want to get the money, honey, there's somebody else who will. We're going to get there to the top, but we want you all to do it. $500 million in our account. I mean, God, Dave, I get so excited thinking about it.
Sharron, I wouldn't, nobody can say it better than that. That's incredible. And I feel the same way. My gosh, 2011, 12, and 13, oh my gosh. These are going to be the years that people can completely set up their life any way they want to set it up. And we won't ever get these years back. I think these are going to be glory years, and we're not going to get them back. I just hope everybody listen to this call can feel your passion and hear your words and go for it, because oh my gosh, these are going to be beautiful glory years for Xango, and it's going to be great being part of this. Sharron, thanks so much for being on this call. I hope everybody will get their friends and organizations that weren't on this call to go back and listen to these great words and inspiration and message and methodology and things that they just heard tonight. Every once in a while, a real special call takes place, Karen. Karen. I keep thinking of Karen Huss because tomorrow, by the way, is Karen Huss's birthday, so everybody that knows her might send her a text message. Anyway, every once in a while, a real special call takes place on Life as It Could Be that goes into the archives. This is one of those extra special calls that takes place only every once in a while. And so I hope everybody will get into the archives and listen to this, take notes. And with that, we will need to dismiss ourselves. So say one last final goodbye, Sharron, and I'm sure all the people are saying goodbye to you right now, and we'll sign off, okay?
Okay, goodbye, and let's get going and have a happy birthday.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being online, and thanks for all your notes of thanks for the call. We got hundreds of notes of thanks for the call, Sharron. Thanks for being on it with us tonight. And
it's my pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me, Dave. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.